In an article posted today on Infowars.com, the headline reads, "Drug-Induced Murder. What caused the Connecticut school shootings?" This is by Rebecca Terrell of New American. "The internet is rife with details about the firearms Adam Lanza used to kill 20 children and 6 adults before turning a handgun on himself at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut on December 14th. But information about Lanza's medical history is scarce, breeding speculation that he may fit the profile of school shooters under the influence of psychotherapeutic medication. In virtually every mass school shooting during the past 15 years, the shooter has been on or in withdrawal from psychiatric drugs," writes Lawrence Hunter of the Social Security Institute. "Yet, federal and state governments continue to ignore the connection between psychiatric drugs and murderous violence, preferring instead to exploit these tragedies in an oppressive and unconstitutional power grab to snatch guns away from innocent, law-abiding people." Later on in the article, as we see there highlighted, one of the things in the past that we've known about depression is that it very, very rarely leads to violence, observed psychiatrist Peter Breggin. "It's only been since the advent of these new SSRI drugs that we have murderers, sometimes even mass murderers, taking antidepressant drugs." And Alex talked about this in his interview with Piers Morgan, that what we really should be talking about is how these kids are all doped up when they do these mass murders. But of course, like children, the mainstream media is focusing on the Second Amendment, even though it's extremely rare. Murder violence, gun violence is extremely rare, less than 1%. We're now going to go to a powerful video where individuals who have taken this medication are going to tell you how they felt when they were on it. It's pretty amazing and very sad. And then we're going to go to a hard-hitting news segment produced by Alex Jones on this very topic.
Suicide at age 12 years, 3 months, just 8 weeks after being put on Paxil and then Zoloft.
In a state of confusion and hopelessness, I put a .38 Special Smith & Wesson revolver under my chin and pulled the trigger.
I went from being a shy and mildly depressed but never suicidal kid to being overcome with thoughts of hurting and killing myself while on the SSRI drugs, thoughts which I acted on.
Would you people put your children on this drug?
These are aerial pictures here in Harris County, Texas, as we have been watching the better part of this last hour. North Harris campus is on lockdown. This is an active situation. We are not showing you live pictures because of what we may possibly see.
The corporate state-run media calls anybody that questions the official propaganda that's pumped out by the government and the dinosaur media as conspiracy theorist. And that's just a way to demonize your opposition and to try to get weak-minded people to not investigate the information that the alternative media is putting out. Now, that said, it doesn't mean that everything the government or mainstream media puts out is a lie. I've gotten a lot of criticism for not coming out and saying that Sandy Hook is an inside job. It has some of the telltale signs of being an inside job, but those are the same signs you will see if the government is simply using the crisis, like Rahm Emanuel has famously said, don't let a good crisis go to waste. Here's a clip of that.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste. And what I mean by that, it's an opportunity to do things that you think you could not do before.
Now again, in the last month and a half, I have not come out and said that this was clearly a staged event. Unfortunately, evidence is beginning to come out that points more and more in that direction, and we're going to show you that information in a moment. Now, a lot of the tens of millions of video views on YouTube concerning the Sandy Hook hoax surround CNN and what appears to be people who've been coached, people who've been given cue cards, people who are behaving like actors. And we see CNN criticizing all the witnesses from the helicopter and the news crews and witnesses, adults that saw multiple people being detained who were in camo. We're told, oh, those are 5-year-olds saying that. It's a conspiracy theory. When it's not 5-year-olds saying that, it's adults. It's police admitting that, quote, police officers were arrested from other jurisdictions, creeping around the woods. Something serious is going on here. And CNN over and over again is at the heart of the fishy things that are happening. Now, remember, in 1990, 1991, when the Gulf War started, CNN would send out their raw feeds to their news affiliates, and on it there was clear blue screens on top the roof of CNN Center in Atlanta with their top reporters claiming they were in Israel under sarin nerve gas attack from Scuds. And later they had to admit quietly, but this is on record, we're going to show you some clips, that indeed they were in Atlanta, Georgia, and that they were not being attacked by Scud missiles with sarin gas. CBS News got caught scripting videos as well. And there's a lot of examples of this. So let's go ahead and look at those clips.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I'm starting to get real bothered by all this. Boy, did I almost look stupid. Charles Jaco, CNN, reporting live from Saudi Arabia.
And that there are also firings in another city in Saudi Arabia. CNN's Carl Rochelle is here with me, just came up. Carl, I know we can't be very specific given these restrictions, but within those parameters, what did you see?
Well, what I saw, I didn't see anything hit. I looked almost straight above us. There was a vapor trail coming from my right to my left, and there's a cloud of something. It looks like it might have been an explosion, a cloud. I'd say my apologies for he's putting on the gas mask. There hasn't been any gas dropped here that we could tell. You smell anything? No. You may smell some of the fumes from a missile exhaust going off. The missiles use a rocket, a cordite, some sort of burning. We just heard a little thump just then, but
I have to apologize for that. I caught a whiff of something and felt momentarily dizzy. You're more experienced.
Now remember, that's only a small portion of hours of raw CNN feed that back in the old days they didn't scramble the big satellite feeds because they thought most people wouldn't have a 12-foot dish to get it. But people did record that, and that's how they got caught with their pants down. And notice that blue screen in the background so they could project the Tel Aviv and Jerusalem skylines in the background. Coming up, we've got Anderson Cooper, supposedly at Sandy Hook, and it's clearly blue screen. I've worked with blue screen for 17 years. We've got it right in there. We know what it looks like. We know what the anomalies look like. And we know what happens when you don't tune it properly. It's clearly blue screen. And you can draw from that what you want. That's coming up in a moment. So CNN's done it before. I have mainstream news articles here out of the Washington Post, out of WorldNet Daily, where CNN had to admit that they had Army psychological warfare inside of their system, basically crafting the news. And then, of course, we have things like Operation Northwoods, where in 1961 the Joint Chiefs came to Kennedy with Lemnitzer's plan and said, we want to stage shootings around America in crowded public places like movie theaters and things, and on the street, to blame the Soviets as a pretext for war with Cuba. And Kennedy said no. They've had the plan for mass shootings before, so we can't be attacked and others can't be attacked for questioning known liars who put on fake news and questioning a government that's been caught wanting to stage shootings. And they didn't just plan to stage shootings. In the 60s, 70s, and 80s, this was declassified by the Italian government and their president and the head of their CIA a few years ago, that the U.S. government used terrorists to stage terror attacks, and NATO did this as well to blame their political opposition, be they left or right, similar to what we saw with Oklahoma City. And part of that program was called the NATO option or Operation Gladio. So look that up for yourself. I've also interviewed police officers that were involved in the rescue at Oklahoma City, like Mr. Browning, who's in the award-winning film A Noble Lie, who were threatened by the FBI if they talked about what they knew with death.
But was told more than once or twice by agents in the area that people like my wife and I would have ended up dead by not going along with what we knew to be true.
Wow, so you're a decorated Vietnam veteran, police officer, one of the heroes that responded when there could have been other bombs and was thought there were other bombs, and the FBI agents in the police office are telling you, do what you're told or you and your wife are dead. And you're saying this on record here, sir.
Yes, sir.
What did they know about? Federal agents inside planning the bombs in Oklahoma City. And it was Attorney General Holder, who later ran the false flag of Fast and Furious, who was Deputy Attorney General back in 1995, who ran the cover-up. And those emails have come out in different lawsuits that are available online if you'd like to look those up. Go out and check everything I'm telling you. And you're going to find out it's even worse than I'm saying. In fact, that's what I get criticized for, is, not covering at all this piece of evidence, that piece of evidence. There's too many. I clearly believe from the evidence children were really killed in Sandy Hook, and it's a real tragedy. But the fact that they're having people script things and that answers are being scripted is incontrovertible. We're going to get to some of that evidence right now.
It's believed at this hour, and it's been confirmed to ABC News by state police there in Connecticut, that 2 shooters were initially believed involved in the mass shooting. One of those shooters now dead. What's not been confirmed is whether or not that gunman took his own life or whether or not there was something that ensued after authorities began arriving at the scene.
Now, I'm just going to hit a few of the big unanswered questions of Sandy Hook. Just a few. The mainstream media keeps saying conspiracy theorists say there were multiple shooters. Nobody said that but a few poor 5-year-olds who were traumatized. So we go and look, and there's countless adult witnesses. There's helicopter footage. There's police reports. There's video. There's local news accounts saying, oh, it was a tactical officer from a nearby jurisdiction who happened to be hanging out in the woods and wearing the same thing as what people said the shooters were wearing. No big deal, though. Let's just go ahead and ignore that. And that's in the Newtown Bee and other publications. And then, again, we have the newscast saying other shooters and showing people being grabbed in the woods. But we're told we never saw that. Here's a clip.
They did walk a guy out of the woods. I saw him walk a guy out earlier with handcuffs. He walked by us and said he didn't do it.
It was a grown man.
A grown man, yeah. He's sitting in the front of the police car over there now. So, I mean...
He didn't have a gun?
No, I didn't see any gun. Just had him handcuffed. And he walked by us and looked into parents' eyes and said, I didn't do it.
How was he dressed?
Camo pants with a dark jacket.
Roger. I have reports that the teacher saw 2 shadows running past the building, past the gym, which would be rear... They're shooting. Yeah, we got them. They're coming at me down Coach Point. Come up the driveway left side. That's 6. This is it.
One of the big issues out there that has people asking questions is Robbie Parker, who reportedly lost one of his daughters. And people see the photos out there where it looks like Obama's meeting with all 3 of his children and things like that. And when you watch the footage, I know grieving parents do strange things, but it looks like he's saying, okay, do I read off the card? He's laughing, and then he goes over and starts basically breaking down and crying. So let's show that clip.
Family is there, and they're getting ready to come to the microphone, so we'll listen in. Okay. My name's Robbie Parker. My family is one of the families that lost a child yesterday in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shootings here in Connecticut.
I haven't touched this, okay? All I know is they're seizing on it. They staged Fast and Furious. The head of Gun Owners of America has said on my own show, Larry Pratt, that if they'd staged Fast and Furious that killed thousands, our government, to blame the Second Amendment, they'd stage anything.
What is your take right now on this situation? What do you, I mean, obviously they're seizing on it politically. Obama's saying you shouldn't have Semiano. We're seeing Michael Moore, all the usual suspects. Sure. Bloomberg's telling police to go on strike. We're going to cover all those points. But what does your gut tell you?
Now, we have to admit that maybe this is something that our government is capable of, because this is only 12 people murdered. They were good for 400 in Fast and Furious.
All I know is overall gun crime's going down, so I'm just defending the Second Amendment. But people are pointing this out. I didn't cover it until last week. They had the Lone Star College gang-related shooting where 3 people were shot, thank God not killed. And CNN kept saying, we're not going to show you live feeds because of what you might see. We're going to show that in a moment. And I was watching the local KHOU and getting to see what people were actually saying. And so that's a big deal in news when they start deciding not to show you helicopter footage because of what you might see.
Another school shooting. These are aerial pictures here in Harris County, Texas, as we have been watching the better part of this last hour. North Harris campus is on lockdown. This is an active situation. We are not showing you live pictures because of what we may possibly see. As a result, we are showing you delayed tape pictures as police, SWAT, FBI now.
This is the same CNN that staged Scud attacks that their people were supposedly under with a blue screen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the finale. I saw this footage where Anderson Cooper turns. He's supposedly there at Sandy Hook in front of the memorial, and his whole forehead and nose blurs out. I've been working with blue screen, again, for 17 years. I know what it looks like. It's clearly blue screen. Clearly. And I thought, that's got to be somebody's doctored YouTube. There's no way. We went to CNN, found a link where the whole interview had been posted. It's been removed. Oh, by the way, just like some of the earlier clips, like Robbie Parker, have been removed. I forgot that. So I'm thinking, okay, they took it down. Let me go to archive.org, which is a respected group that puts the archives up, and I found it all unedited right there, exact same footage in high def. And we're going to show you a clip of that right now, full size, and then we'll enhance it and blow it up. All right, folks. Again, when we see these anomalous clips, we actually do our best to go to the source. And the best we can tell, they did post the entire interview after they did it on CNN.com, but it's been removed. But we went to Internet Archive, highly respected archive.org. This is not some, quote, conspiracy site. This is archive.org. They've got an unedited entire interview in 10-minute chunks. That's how they do it. So here it is at the very beginning of this chunk where his nose disappears, and we have blue screen here. It's clearly blue screen.
Is there anything else you want to say? Is there anything else you want to say?
And Anderson Cooper has got some explaining to do, because I know blue screen when I see it. I believe children died at Sandy Hook. And there are a lot of parents going through serious grief, so that can account for some of the strange behavior. Nothing can account for what happens to his nose. And this is CNN, admittedly run by the Pentagon and PSYOPs, Washington Post, WorldNet Daily. This needs to be investigated. They're clearly using this to go after our guns. The government knows overall violent crime's down 49% in the last 20 years. They know more guns means less crime. So they're clearly being opportunistic. That's undoubted. Something, though, is really starting to get suspicious here. I mean, I'm sick of it always being a conspiracy. We know it's a conspiracy that they're putting people on Prozac and stuff that makes them go out and do this. We know that's the real cause of some of these real shootings. It's at the root. But the fact that this whole thing could be staged, it's just mind-blowing. Tell us what you think. Great job to all the people out there, the crowdsourcing that are researching all these clips. No wonder CNN won't put out a live feed anymore. I mean, they are panicked because they know you're watching and I'm watching. Just like Kurt Haskell, lawyer with his wife, with the underwear bomber a few Christmases ago. He saw the government getting him on the plane. He was the only guy to tell that story for a month and a half. And then on C-SPAN, the Undersecretary of State Kennedy admitted that they'd been ordered by an unnamed U.S. agency to help that patsy get on the plane.
There have been numerous cases where our unilateral and uncoordinated revocation of a visa would have disrupted important investigations that were underway by one of our national security partners. They had the individual under investigation, and our revocation action would have disclosed U.S. government's interest in that individual and ended our colleagues' ability, such as the FBI, to pursue the case quietly and to identify terrorist plans and co-conspirators.
The system's scared because they know I'm watching and you're watching. So you can't blame anybody for not believing known certified liars in the government and at CNN. It's that simple. Sorry, we don't trust you anymore. If you told us the sun came up in the morning, people would go out and check before they believed you. Alex Jones signing off for Infowars.com.
boy, did I almost look stupid. Charles Jaco, CNN, reporting live from Saudi Arabia.
A great piece by Alex Jones.
ProPure is introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. This is a revolutionary system, and I am so pleased to be able to introduce it to you. This is the Pro One by ProPure. You wanted it, you got it. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. In the last 20 years, companies have developed technologies that will cut out classical fluoride, sodium fluoride, with a secondary filter. Because sodium fluoride and its derivatives are so incredibly tiny, some of it still gets through, so you've got to add a secondary fluoride filter onto it, which still doesn't cut out some types of fluoride. Ladies and gentlemen, ProPure for 2 years has been quietly developing this with scientists and engineers. It was designed in the U.S. They only have factories that can make this in England. So it's made in England, and this is the only filter that not only cuts out the other bad contaminants and also the fluoride in one step, it cuts out the acid derivative of fluoride. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the system you need to add to all of the ProPure systems that you've gotten from InfoWarsStore.com. The new Pro One filter element does it all. Water, fluoride, and other heavy metals. This is 2-stage filtration in one filter element. To be clear, Pro One water filters, designed and created by ProPure, are the only gravity-fed filters out there, period, that don't just cut out so-called sodium fluoride, but cut out what is added to most water supply systems, and that is hydrofluorosilicic acid, which is a hopped-up, energized form of fluoride that is literally dozens of times more deadly to your body. That's what's being added to almost every municipal water supply, not just here in the United States, but in Canada, England, the UK in general, and much of Europe. New Pro One filter elements are good for more than 2,400 gallons, blowing away the competition. The ProPure Pro One is a revolution in gravity-fed filters. Take advantage of this today. It's a win-win. Support the InfoWar by purchasing it from InfoWarsStore.com. Support the broadcast and get the lowest price out of the gates anywhere. So no matter where you live in the world, it is time to get the latest development in gravity-fed water filtration, up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. No other filter can cut any of that out. Only ProPure and their new system, Pro One. All available at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. This is a revolution against the tyrants. They love putting the toxic acid base of fluoride into your water. They love the fact that it's an adjuvant supercharging the trace Prozac in the water and the hormones and the other chemicals. They love the fact that it supercharges the GMOs that you're eating. By cutting out fluoride, you cut out the turbocharger in all the poison being artificially introduced into your body. This is what I use. It's a win-win. You get a high-quality product at the lowest price. You support the InfoWar. Get your ProPure with the new Pro One filter today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139.